Yes, indeed, folks. Welcome back to another special edition of the Cajun Libertarian Sunday Special, which is becoming a very, very, very fast and popular special that we're doing. Love being here. You're going to love our guest tonight, Sean Thorne. He's running for office in the great state of Alaska, which we know is very, very, very easy to win. Maybe not easy, but we have a chance, a much bigger chance in that state right now than a lot of other states. So I can't wait to talk to Sean here in just a minute, right back with the Cajun Libertarian Sunday Special. Yes, 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 and more yes. So welcome back real quick. Don't forget to go and like and subscribe to Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Leave me a 5-star review. That helps out tremendously. Even if you don't like the show, show me pity and give me a 5-star review. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications bell on YouTube or any other site that you follow, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and now on Float, actually, which is fantastic. So please go and follow me, like, subscribe, all of those places, and make sure that you follow Sean Thorne everywhere that he is available. And we will ask him exactly how we can follow him, how we can support him, and what the great state Alaska is looking forward to when they elect Sean Thorne. So let's bring him on. Sean, what's up, bro?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking time out of your extraordinarily busy schedule to spend a few minutes with us, a little bit of time, and tell us exactly what we need to do to get you into office and how we can make Alaska gold. But before we get to that, I must ask you, what is the weather like up there right now?
It's been real weird, actually. We had some of the earliest heavy snowfall I've ever seen, and now it's all melted off, and I don't remember a Thanksgiving without snow ever, but now it's actually warm out, so everything's just inverted. I don't know what to tell you. There ain't much sunlight, but the grass is green still, so
Grass is
we'll,
green still.
we'll enjoy it while we have it.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's incredible. I do remember Eskimo telling me a few weeks back that there was a crazy amount of snowfall. I'm not
Mhm.
sure. I think y'all are semi close to each other. That's a
Yeah, we're pretty
massive
close.
state. Right. So, but that's incredible. I am glad that you are feeling quite warm for the given circumstances up there. It is actually about 50 degrees and raining outside right now here, which makes it really cold because there's still a lot of humidity in the air. But, it is what it is. So here we go for winter. But here we go with your campaign as well. So tell us a little bit about maybe who or what you're running against and how you are absolutely the better candidate for the job.
Yeah, so I'm running for U.S. Senate in 2022. Right now, our incumbent is Lisa Murkowski, and there's a lot of people with a lot of feelings about her. I'll give her credit where credit's due. She is good at playing the big politics game and getting stuff for Alaska, but also the big politics game is absolutely killing us. We pay $400 billion a year as a country just to pay debts, not to pay it down at all. It's unsustainable. So that model's got to change. I think also politically, in terms of social things, I think she's taken some very bad stances, and there's a lot of Alaskans that are unhappy with her. She made a lot of news with kind of her attacks on Donald Trump, maybe for some things that she shouldn't have. So the other big candidate I'm running against is Kelly Chewbacca, and she's the Trump-endorsed candidate. And she's longtime Washington person, and some stuff we agree on and a lot of stuff we don't. So it'll be an interesting race. And I'm here to bring freedom. I'm here to listen to anyone that wants to talk about stuff. There's no issue that my heels are that dug into on that I'm not willing to have a conversation. And I think there's a lot of politicians that aren't that way. and transparency. I'll be transparent with everything I do. Every lobbyist that wants to talk to me, I'm going to let people know about it. So I don't want to be a politician. I want to be something else in a politician's office and bring people some real representation for normal people. So,
Oh, yeah. And that's a great way of saying it. You want to be a representative and not a politician.
yep.
And I think that what you're saying right now is resonating with a lot of people, not just because you're saying it right now, but more importantly, that I know you started your page not long ago, and it has grown what I
Mhm.
consider to be at a pretty exponential rate. So people are gravitating to you personally and gravitating towards the things that you're saying and the authenticity in the way and manner that you're saying them. And one of the big things I know for a fact that Alaska puts as a high priority, and I believe that most of the U.S. now is putting at a very high priority, which is kind of a recent phenomenon, really, within the last, I probably say 15 to 20 years, is natural resources and
Mhm.
maybe conservation of the environment and things of that nature. How can we help Alaska in that facet, and by extension, help America?
Yeah, I mean, I think Alaska has one of the best track records of any place in the world in terms of utilizing natural resources while also protecting them. And it's an unfortunate truth that a
That's
lot of
right.
people don't like, that just because we've shut down most of the mines, in America, and we've moved manufacturing overseas, that might make us cleaner, and it makes the world so much dirtier. So I'm a big believer. Let's do it here. Let's make it feasible for companies to do development here, keep those jobs here, and do it cleaner than anywhere else in the world.
Right.
Mining, oil development, it's not going away. I'm sorry to break it to anyone that thinks it is. It's not going anywhere. And
No.
Alaskans, man, it universally about every Alaskan had a meltdown when Joe Biden asked OPEC to increase production right after he
Right.
shut down our production. It's
Yep.
unbelievable. We have such a good track record of development, and there's plenty of projects you can look at here that when the environmental impact is going to be too big, we don't do it. We're not motivated by money that like to that extent. Um, and when there's I guess an agreeable amount of an impact, then we do it and we do it right. So I'm a big supporter of doing that, developing.
You-
So,
Yep. You guys are on an exceptional kind of level. There's a few rural areas within the
mm,
United States where you're actually utilizing the natural resources in your
mm,
environment and not having a huge impact on the footprint of the environment. Alaska is probably one of the bigger, or not probably, definitely one of the bigger states and populaces that actually does this the right way as far as utilizing the environment around you to the best of your abilities and keeping it clean. So we'd love to see you guys kind of head that up and remain the at the forefront of that. How can we, as not just necessarily as a libertarian party, but as liberty-minded people, how can we get that message out to the world and kind of just show everybody that Alaska does lead in that?
oh man, that's a good question. Just having the conversation, and I think
That's right.
across the board, it's hard for Americans to have conversations at this point. Everyone gets heated really fast, and that's something I advocate with libertarians. We have very different takes. People are not used to hearing a take that doesn't come out of the two-party system, and just
Right.
being patient and nice when you're explaining it to people that, hey, maybe we can look into this as an option, and just trying not to let that pent up frustration get to you, especially in the days of COVID. Everyone's been locked down. Everyone's losing their
Yeah.
minds, and just don't give in to that. Have calm conversation, use logic, and sell that alternate way of doing things. I think oftentimes libertarians we kind of die on the high ground, but it's the place
Um,
to be, like the moral high ground, I should say.
right. Right.
But as long as we have that, eventually it's going to break through. And we saw last night the Pennsylvania election. That's some serious movement for the Libertarian Party. And so the message is catching on. People are tired of the status quo. So just don't be afraid to have the conversations with people. Most people are pretty receptive. So,
Yep, yep. I think we're getting convoluted with a lot of bad messaging from I like to call corporate media because I don't
yeah,
believe what mainstream media is what they
I
call
agree.
themselves. They're not mainstream anymore. I think
Yeah.
this is what's mainstream now. Independent journalism and podcasts are actually uh, leading the forefront of messaging, and I just think that's such a very incredibly sound thing that you said right there is just have the conversation, because there's so much that we can achieve, not just as a party moving away from the LP, but just as humans in
Hmm.
this absolutely toxic atmosphere that we have in the United States, especially when it comes to things like natural resources, because there's so many people that have this misconstrued idea of what that actually means on how to utilize it to the best of its capability while still keeping the environment sound. I just absolutely love that, because that really ties into, when you say have the conversation, that's really meeting people where they're at. And that's what we're all about. And so, yeah, I love that. It's incredible.
Yeah. Think about, where that fish dinner comes from. Might
Hmm.
come from us. Think about where your plastic Tupperware comes from. Might come from our oil. Rare earth minerals. That's a huge one. Everyone keeps all the
That's right.
hawks in Washington. They keep talking about, oh, now China's got all the rare earth minerals because we lost Afghanistan. It's like, that should not be your primary focus in Afghanistan. The
That's
humanitarian
right.
cost of what happened there should be. But you don't hear many people having the conversation that Alaska has one of the biggest deposits of rare earth minerals in the world. And the federal government is not too keen on letting us develop that stuff. So let's do it here.
Yep. That's crazy. I know you guys, I can't remember exactly, so iron me out here with my conversation with Eskimo, but there's some sort of trade deal that the federal government or local state governments have enacted over there, that you actually
Mhm.
have to ship your, I think,
Yep.
oil to California,
Yep.
and then they send it back, and it's like triple the cost and absolutely inefficient, and that under no circumstances is that a good way to do it.
I mean, there's so many things like that where they want our baseline product and they do not want it to be developed in any way here. So yeah,
Right.
oil, it all gets refined out of state and then it comes back. And so people are shocked all the time when I tell them we pay more, here almost all the time for gas than they do, even though, we're getting it straight from the cow, but we can't process it here. So um,
That's
it's wild.
That's insane, because really what that tells me is the whole cliche, not cliche, I'm sorry, but the absolute truth of follow the money, because that's what that
Yeah.
sounds like to me. Am I wrong? I mean, it sounds like it's no, they just want to make money off of it, and they're not going to make as much money as if you refined it yourself.
I mean, fisheries are another big one up here. We're having the battle right now over overfishing,
Mhm.
and Alaskan boats. We do it right. Pretty much all the boats that are the problem come from out of state. They come up from Washington as a big one. A lot of the money pressure behind it is from the California food lobby, and have to be careful. It gets me mad when Californian politicians will talk about how great they are, even though they already ruined their environment, and then they'll
Right.
use that money to flex on us to tell us what to do, even though we have the record of being fantastic custodians, and they're the ones that come up here and destroy ours because of the money interest, and yet they claim to have the moral high ground on it, and
Wow.
it's absolutely wrong. So we got to fight those lobbyists as well. It's a big problem.
Facts. That
Yeah.
I did not know that. Wow, we
Mm.
need to be talking about that at great length. Is yeah, absolutely, they don't deserve the moral high ground there, and we need to let everybody know about it. And so, but something else that you guys are doing up there, which is kind of catching fire, and I've never heard a lot of people talking about it up until the last maybe 5 years or so, and that's ranked choice voting.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Usix for a sec, but yeah, we can talk about ranked choice too.
Yeah, yeah, Usix. That's what Eskimo said. Yeah, let's talk about Usix. Sure.
No, ranked choice. I guess we're the second state to adopt it after Maine in terms of our Maine system. But this is going to be the first federal candidate election for everything we got. Every federal office is going to be using ranked choice, and it's amazing to see how quickly the Uniparty will come together to attack something like that. You see the same thing with school choice in a lot of areas where they try and stomp it out because it is a threat to their hegemony over the
Right.
system. And ranked choice, the way I see it is, if the whole U.S. went to ranked choice, you might have a situation where, and this is like a lot of libertarians are concerned with this. You might have an election where there's 4 Republicans or 4 Democrats on it, but I guarantee you, if those are the 4 people that made it on, there's still a spectrum, and there's a spectrum of belief there. And I think it's going to open up the ability to pick people that actually represent the populace instead of just the person that was funded most heavily by the party that holds the majority. And I think there's so many problems it would fix. Get some real people in there for real representation. So even if it's not me, if you're in Alaska and listening to this, even if you're not picking me, like do some research and you can actually pick the person that you believe in now instead of just having to vote for who the party wants you to vote for. I really think it's a beautiful thing. People are worried. I think they're going to be so happy with it when they see the results. So,
Man, I hope so, because as far as I know, I haven't seen a whole lot of pushback of the constituents of their areas that actually have ranked choice voting. Not after it's been instilled for a while. I want to say there's maybe some pockets, and I guess not, because you just said y'all are second, but I don't know. I was under the impression that Pennsylvania had some areas where they had RCV.
yeah, I think so. Maine has it for everything, I believe. I'm not 100%. I'm pretty sure they have it for everything, but like Pennsylvania, I think some districts of Virginia, there are counties and there are state offices where it's being used, but it's pretty much going into next year. It's going to be everything here. So
that's incredible. That'll be phenomenal to watch play out. Of course, I don't expect it to get a lot of coverage from the corporate media, but we'll be sure on our end over here to make sure that we can see exactly what the voters of Alaska think about RCV. And again, I haven't seen any pushback from the constituents that are involved in RCV in any of the areas that I'm thinking that are in. From what I can hear and know, all of the people, all of the voters, they like this. They want this.
The biggest concern I've heard is people saying, "Oh, people aren't going to know how to do it," and I have more faith in people than that. I think people are smarter than picking option A with an R or option B with a D. I think they can figure out how to go 1, 2, 3, 4. You know who you like going into it. Most people are going to have 1 or 2 top candidates, and you can know number 1 or 2. It's not hard. It's really not.
Yeah, that sounds like fear mongering to try to eradicate a system that could possibly tear down the structures of the duopoly, which is what I've seen so far with RCV. So, absolute just fear mongering there in that department, from what I can see. So that's going to be incredible to watch unfold over the next. We're talking about just less than a year and a half away from the 22 midterms, and then a couple of years away from a lot of federal elections and some elections in between. So I'm excited to watch that unfold. You're also a veteran, right?
That I am. I did 5 years in the Army. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was Navy/Marine Corps.
Gotcha.
Got a lot of Army friends though, man. I'm just kidding. I appreciate your service. That's incredible. Where were you stationed at?
After my training, I spent my entire time in Korea. I did 3 back-to-back tours in Korea, and then I was injured enough to where I had to make that decision to get out and move on to something else. So
Korea, how was that?
So the first half, I was in one of the Army's most famously bad organizations, and it was hard. Got through it, but I was able to move outward and upward to one of the coolest jobs in Korea, and so I got to live in Seoul for several years. One of the last, units that's still in Seoul, and just got to meet so many amazing people. I love Korean culture. I absolutely cherish my time living in Seoul, and met the best people ever. Explored a lot. I think I've been to somewhere around like 15 countries or something like that. I used to travel all the time, every 4-day weekend with my wife, and really gave me a lot of context as to how different places do things differently, and sometimes that's better than the way we do it. And everyone out there, their life still matters. They're worthy of dignity, even if some people look down at them, and really opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. So
that's awesome. So you spent 5 years. So you got a lot of you have a lot of experience with the VA, I assume.
Yeah, that I do. I use the VA for my healthcare, and definitely have some changes I'd like to see. But we're actually pretty lucky in Alaska. We have one of the better VA systems up here, and there's actually a lot of veterans that move up here that need care, quite simply because ours is ran well, unlike many VA systems.
Right. Yeah, I've heard some pockets of testimonies where their VA was ran really well. That's
Mhm.
very few and far between,
Yep.
especially from my experience. Most of the VAs that I've had to deal with are absolutely atrocious. And
Yep.
so, what are some of the things that you're looking at reforming about the VA, and how can we pull this off? How can we help you?
Yeah, I mean, so I'd say my two biggest things with the VA I'd like to change is getting care for burn pit victims. Um, Most veterans know someone that has burn pit damage in their lungs, and if you don't know and you're watching this, basically they spent, you'd send a soldier over or sailor, marine, what have you, and they'd spend their whole tour just burning trash. That was like their job,
Yep.
and so they'd inhale that plastic fumes or worse for all that time, and it just torched their lungs. And now it's very, very similar to the same battle that we had over Agent Orange in Vietnam, where
Right.
Agent Orange, it was considered by the FDA to be non-toxic. So how could it possibly hurt you? And it it took years, and even still, it's hard to make a claim for it. And it took years. So many people died without care, and so we can't let the same thing happen. We need to take care of the people that we absolutely hosed as a government, and
Right.
get them the care they need, because it's not a small amount of people, and they're suffering. My other big change I'd like to make, not only to I have a lot of changes I'd like to make to how the government approaches
Right.
education funding. And I
Nice.
think one way you can do that in the VA is to expand the ability to use it for tech programs instead of just a 4-year degree, because there's
That's
so
right.
many veterans that would be better suited to go into a technical field, get that expertise. And right now, there's some, but it's really hard for the school to get certified to do it and to get your VA money approved for that program. Another one is I don't know if you saw they did an experimental program through Congress to do small business loans instead of going to
Yeah.
school with your VA money. And so that one is still in the experimental phase, but I think that's something we need to embrace. Small businesses are just so important to any local economy, and make sure someone has, a good plan before you give them that money. But we need to lean into that and ensure that people are able to pursue their passion. They did their service. That is the benefit that they were guaranteed. Allow them to use it the way they want to and the way that's functional for society.
Oh, that's incredible. I actually love both of those. I was not aware of the tech part, which is something I'm a huge advocate for
Mm.
outside in the civilian sector. I keep
Yep.
telling people, hey, we have a massive demand in the tech field and a surplus and oversaturated market of college degrees.
Yep.
Think and consider about sending your kids or letting them explore the opportunity of having a tech type field as opposed to an academia type field. I didn't know that was an option with the VA benefits. So, man, that's incredible.
It's so much more restricted than the ability to use it for school, and so that's what we need to remove, is make more things eligible for people to utilize it in.
Sounds like standard government work.
Yeah,
Overregulated and inaccessible to the public at a right price for the right value.
I think the degree system has done so much damage to our society. Just the whole emphasis on getting a degree at any cost, and now you have multiple generations stacked on each other of someone with a underwater basket weaving degree, and the government made it so easy for them to get $200,000 in loans to pay for that degree because it's something they enjoy. And now they're working at Starbucks, and they're clearly educated, but they're have a very hard time moving up, and they see someone that's 20 years old and an apprentice welder already doing better than they're ever going to do, and
Right.
that fuels them with hatred. And I think that's a
Yeah.
lot of the problems we face culturally now, is people that are in this situation where they have a degree that might have been fun for them, but there's not really a practical application unless you're the top 5% that can teach or write books. And now
Amen.
you're spending that energy towards hatred and division to try and justify yourself having a new role. I think you see it all the time now.
Man,
Sorry I
that
went down
is
that rabbit hole, but that is a
no,
hot
no,
subject
no.
for me.
No, I love it. I think you're absolutely spot on For sure. Absolutely love everything you said right there. That bit, and look, from a philosophical standpoint, bitterness is just going to eat up the person that
Yep.
is bitter. It actually doesn't affect the other person that they're hateful towards or mad. It's a decay that will rot your own bones. I heard something that said that bitterness is like taking poison, waiting on the other person to die. And so
Yep.
I think we're seeing so much of that in our culture today. And you're seeing a lot of it trying to dig its roots into our political system, and not just political system, but the structure, the societal structure. It could just be so damaging. So yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on with that. How can people follow you?
So Facebook is definitely the one I'm most active on. Getting moving towards getting set up on YouTube and some other live streams, but also my website, picksean.com, Picksean. I have a very nice website, and my email's on there, phone number's on there. If you ever want to give me a call and ask me whatever, I'm here
Nice.
for it. So, but yeah, Facebook is definitely the easiest way, and I'd appreciate any
Right.
follow you can give, both on my personal one and on my campaign one, which is Pick Sean Thorne for U.S. Senate. So if you ever
Oh,
have a
nice.
question, hit me up. I'm completely transparent. So every Friday I do a live stream and answer any question. So, and if I don't know, I'll
Yeah.
tell you I don't know. Full transparency, you know.
I love that. I have to say, I don't know all the time. I think that's one of the
Yeah.
only reasons that I've gotten any sort of popularity thus far is because I'm not ashamed to be like, I don't really know. But I can probably find somebody that does know. And so I kind
Yep.
of feel like you're in that same category. You
Definitely.
on Instagram, Twitter, anything like that?
I do have a Twitter. I'm certainly not as active on it as I should be. Probably only a couple times a
Same.
week right now, but you can still contact me on there. I'll definitely message you back. And if you want to have a conversation on Twitter, I'll have a conversation on Twitter with you.
Nice. So, as we get to wrap this up here, let me ask you a couple of little concrete things that I
Okay.
really want to kind of enforce and get things going your way. When can you start knocking doors, collecting signatures, and when can you accept financial support? What all support do you need? How many boots on the ground do you need? How much money do you need? And what is it that we need to get you into office?
So at this point in time, we're focusing on the online sphere. You know, there's libertarians are not famous for their super PAC funding, so
Hmm.
we're focusing on kind of the cheaper options, getting the message out there. So probably the number one thing you can do is share my posts if you like, comment, interact, help us grow the social media influence. If you want to visit the website and give us money, every dollar you can give helps us so much. It's anyone that has ran as a libertarian can tell you it's really hard to compete with the Democrats and Republicans' ability to fundraise. So
Absolutely.
anything helps truly. And actually, this week, hopefully by end of this week, early next week, we're going to have our online merch store up as well. And
Nice.
it's not gonna be a regular run of the mill stuff. We're gonna have some fun things on there, some fun shirts. So even if you're not in Alaska, if you want to rock it, we appreciate the help because of the way we're doing ranked choice and how atypical Alaskan politics is, like we really have a chance. So if
Yeah.
you want to see a libertarian get in, this is probably the federal race to support. So anything you can do to help us out, we appreciate it.
That's awesome. Are you already on the ballot?
Yep, it's going to be a
That's
open primary. So I think there's 14 people on there, and I'm one of the three that's seriously working at it. So a lot of the
yeah.
other ones just kind of threw their name on there. But
Right. That's incredible. Is that part of the RCV thing?
mhm.
Is that you can just get right on the ballot, right?
Yeah, I think that's actually one of the best changes they made with the way they implemented ranked choice up here was having that general primary where there's no party primary anymore. And a lot of the parties really hated that, but
Love it.
that's how you get the people that are actually popular with the population instead of the
Yeah,
person that is already just like party hooks sunk in them.
that's
Um, that's how you get those people. So I think that's by far the most important provision we did.
Yeah, and that's probably the most intimidating part to the
Yeah.
duopoly is that it
Yep.
removes their ability to stranglehold third-party independent voters
Yep.
off of the ballot, which is why we really got to push for RCV all the way across the country. And as we watch this unfold with your race and when you get elected, and other people that are embracing RCV around the country. Hopefully, this thing catches fire and just takes off. So that's amazing because you don't really need to collect signatures. You're just already on the
Mm.
ballot. So at this point, we're really just hammering down the messaging, hammering down your promotional, and getting you put out there as far and wide as humanly possible. And that way, people know that you are the best option for the Alaskan Senate race in 2022, right? November?
Yep, yep. And I don't know if you remember last time, but against the same candidate I'm running against, we got really, really close to getting Joe Miller, the Libertarian candidate, in. He only lost by a couple percent, which was absolutely huge. So there's the
Yeah.
popularity here with the party. The voters are
Yeah.
out there. So
Yeah, big time. You guys got a good libertarian movement going on in Alaska. We're going to hope to keep that rolling. Anything else you got before we jump off here, Sean?
just you know, stay calm as you're out there discussing politics. Just stay calm and be patient with people. Everyone's flawed, and just fight the good fight. Stay on that moral high ground. And thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Man, thank you, Sean, for coming on. We'll catch back up here in a couple of months and see how the race is going, if that's okay with you.
Yep, sounds good. Love that.
Awesome. Stay warm, my friend. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
will do. Will do. You have a good one.
All right, you too. Later.
All right, bye.
Thank you very much, Sean, for coming on the show and telling us exactly what we need to do to get Alaska moving in the right direction. I feel like they already kind of are moving in the right direction. I know there's a big libertarian movement up there. They're very independent minded as far as environmentally concerned. Everything that we talked about, really, they're just a very compassionate, caring, and very independent type of people. And I think we need to follow that suit. You're watching a huge liberty movement up there, same as we're seeing in PA. I think really the only difference that you could really point out between the two is this: PA has a lot more people. And so the numbers probably don't look a whole lot different in comparison to like per capita, we'd say, as to how much the liberty movement is moving through Alaska and how much we really need to model the success that they're having up there. So, man, incredible interview with Sean. Thank you very much, my friend, for coming on. And I will see y'all on Monday. I'll see you tomorrow. Same Cajun time, same Cajun channel. And I'm out.